What's going on, guys? I've got a rare occurrence here going on, a Saturday night upload. Now, of course, the stock market is closed, but crypto is 24/7. I wanted to look over a couple of cryptos to show you what's going on this weekend and also give you kind of the bigger picture here. So let me know if you like these types of videos. Normally I cover stocks, so let me know what you think, but let's get into this. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're also going to glance at Fantom on the chart. We're going to go over Litecoin. I'll glance at Ethereum on the chart and see where we go from there. So first off, the Mac Daddy of them all, Bitcoin. You'll see that we are awful close to our resistance here in 2022 of August, this roughly $25,000 area. And the good thing that you'll see is we are consolidating here. We didn't just have this huge drop after this breakout, after pushing recent highs, pushing higher highs and higher lows here with Bitcoin. And as some of you know, if we can crush this 25, we are definitely on our way to around 28,000. One thing that looks fantastic is the EMAs did cross, indicating some bullish momentum. And I wanted to zoom in a little bit here. Now we're on the 1 hour, we were just on the daily chart. And you'll see that it's continuing to ride these EMAs upwards. And I personally really wouldn't be surprised, if the market allows it. Of course, stocks could pull back during this week coming up here and possibly pull back Bitcoin. But I really wouldn't be surprised to see us break this 25,000 and continue pushing farther. One thing to think about from the macro side of things is we do have one more CPI coming out here before the Fed meeting. This is going to be in March. And hopefully that CPI that's going to come out can kind of redeem us from our previous CPI. But if we do get another bad reading here, it's going to cause a lot of fear in the market. It's also going to cause possibly some fear in Bitcoin. But it is really nice that we've been consolidating, just trading sideways here. The RSI is leveling out from being so overbought here on this breakout towards 25 that it just didn't let us break out of it. We pulled back, consolidated. The RSI is setting itself back to neutral, and we have a potential next leg up to push. But let's go over some more Bitcoin stuff here in a second and look at a couple alts. And one altcoin that I absolutely love, despite some haters on this one, is Litecoin. It has been continuing this nice uptrend. Just look at this channel it's been following. And, we can push all the way down to $80 and it'll still be riding this upwards channel, this ascending channel. So don't be scared, if it comes down under 100, comes down to 80, in my eyes, things are still looking good there. So to me, this can drop a bit and I'm still going to remain very bullish on this. And one thing, just like with Bitcoin, is the EMAs did cross and it is actually riding the 50. It bounced right off of it here and is continuing to push higher. We have been consistently, and I mean consistently, seeing higher highs and higher lows, and I do expect that to continue. And here's why. Yes, Litecoin is coming up to a halving as well, similar to Bitcoin, but on a different time frame. Now, it is about 171 days away. And disregard this market cap, it's not 7 million, it's actually 7 billion. I don't know why there's a mistake there. But, as we get to where we're about 100 days, as I said before, when we get to about 100 days out from the Litecoin halving, we do see a push. So I'm going to continue to dollar cost average in anticipation of the run up when we're about 100 days away. But so far, we have been seeing it actually run up. And one thing that I do speculate with Bitcoin and both Litecoin as well is as more and more people kind of understand the inner workings of these cryptos and how the halving cycles work, there will be more anticipation at an earlier extent and maybe a sell-off sooner. I could be wrong, but that's what we've been seeing with Litecoin here. Ever since June of 2022, it has been in mostly an uptrend. It has had some pullbacks along the way. But ever since right here in June of 22, we're right around $41. It has nearly tripled since then, and things are definitely looking good. And I think it does have a lot further to go. Now, another crypto that I wanted to pull up here is Fantom. And this one has had lows a little more recently. Its lowest point here was in November of 2022. Kind of around all that fear with Bitcoin. But since then, right around 15-20 cents, this has been just ballooning, ran up all the way to 65 cents, pulled back a little bit, and it's working its way back up. And one thing you'll see here, it's not a coincidence. It bounced off that 50 EMA, and if we do pull back, we will retest it. If we break it, we're going to retest the next one. So watch the 3 EMAs, the 50, the 100, and 200. But things have been looking really good for Fantom. One thing to be aware of, is seeing a lower high isn't necessarily a good thing, but we're going to want to very soon try to test this, try to break out of this 65 cent level. Otherwise, we may see some further downward action. But one thing you'll notice here on the RSI, ever since October of 2022, is when it does start selling off, it doesn't drop as low on the RSI, meaning we've been in this kind of an uptrend on the RSI, meaning as this pulls back, it gets met with buyers quicker and quicker, and that's definitely, to me, a good sign. But I do really like Fantom, and I think it has a lot of upside. It was at a $3 area, and of course that doesn't mean it's going to go there necessarily. I do think it will, and even more than that. But one thing to consider is just how much beaten down this is, and you might be sitting here thinking, I could have bought this at 20 cents, I missed out. well, you can still DCA. I'm not a financial advisor, but that's what I'm doing. I'm just dollar cost averaging when I see fit, when I have the chance to. Typically not when we're pushing higher and higher, meaning a dip buy. As we go higher, we pull back, good buy. As we go higher, pull back, another good buy. Just to continue kind of dollar cost averaging with a little bit of price in mind. So that's not purely dollar cost averaging, I know. I do like to kind of flip between dollar cost averaging, buying during fear, and buying during pullbacks, things of that nature. Not buying when it's just, breaking higher on a 15% day or something like that. But let me know what you guys are doing if you actually own Fantom, and what you're doing with these other cryptos. But let's move on here. And I did want to pull up Ethereum for you guys. It was in this long downtrend ever since 2021, just like most crypto. Is in this just clear downwards channel. It hit a support level and it finally broke out of this downwards channel. It also flipped the 3 EMAs and things are definitely looking good. Now I did want to show you this kind of long-term trend that I noticed here. Ever since 2020 actually. It's just been kind of continuing up, but it has found support on this ascending trend line. I think this is a crucial line to watch. And if we do pull back, potentially to the 13s, I actually don't really expect it, but if we do pull back, maybe coming towards summer, if we do happen to pull back towards 1400, just watch that it does bounce over this trend line and doesn't fall. It will have an accelerated move down if it does break this, in my opinion, because it's just such a long-standing support line for Ethereum. It has just been recently pushing into the $1,700 area, and one level you want to watch is roughly the 1750. I do think a break of 1750 will push it towards that 18. And funny enough, actually, is once the new year hit was the breakout of this long-term downtrend, and it has been in a general uptrend since. With one dip from nearly 17, it found resistance at 17, came back down towards 15, and bounced back up. I think we are about to break that 17. You want to keep an eye on Ethereum. And I did quickly want to pull up the crypto fear and greed index. You'll see that there is greed, but it definitely could go a lot further. I don't think the FOMO is fully kicked in yet, but of course we do have a ways to go until the next halving, until we just get that that crazy run. And I think as time goes on, it will be a great time to DCA on any pullbacks on Bitcoin, on any pullbacks on your high conviction cryptos. Now on NiceHash, I'll leave the link down below for you. It actually says that the next halving is under a year away. This can definitely fluctuate because it didn't say it was estimated in February of 2024 last time I checked. Last time I think it was somewhere in March. But we are approaching the next halving. We are now only a year away from it according to this site. Now we all know how Bitcoin did on its previous halving in 2020. It just started ballooning up, and if you think that's just a rare case and we aren't going to see that again, I did want to show you some previous halvings here. But of course, as we move on to future halvings, the gain will likely be less and less, and the stability of Bitcoin will be more and more, meaning during those crypto winters, we're not going to have these huge 90-something% drops, 80-something% drops. It will get more and more stabilized as it gets less and less speculative, and as it gets more of a foothold throughout the world. Now, I did want to pull up the first halving here just so you can see it yourself. This is 1 year before the halving. We typically, right at that 1 year mark, we start getting that anticipatory run up. The halving happens, we get an even bigger run. But I wouldn't necessarily want to wait until the actual halving. I want to place my bets early. I want to get in roughly a year before the halving, and even before that. I've been continuing to dollar cost in a Bitcoin for years now. But I really do think, as we continue to approach the halving, this will be a great year for Bitcoin. Now let's look at the second halving. Second halving, here was the 1 year mark before the halving. What did we see? Well, first off, right when we hit that year mark, we did see a little bit of a dip. But then it just took it all back and ran with it. And while yes, you could just wait until the actual halving and maybe make more gains just looking at this, seeing how much it ran up, but you're making a much bigger percentage getting in a year early. And going from halving to halving to halving, you're getting in much earlier if you're buying 8 years from the next halving, 2 years from now. So look at it like that. While yes, you could get in a year before the next halving, and then you could sell during crypto winter, potentially say in 2025 theoretically. But in reality, if you just continue dollar cost averaging even through crypto winter, through the peaks and everything, the next halving will reward you and subsequent halvings moving forwards. But obviously you have to believe in Bitcoin and you have to have conviction. If you don't believe in Bitcoin, then you probably shouldn't be watching this video. But I just figured I'd give you a quick crypto update, show you what I'm looking at here, remind you that the halving is approaching for both Litecoin and Bitcoin, and in my opinion, it's a great time to be dollar cost averaging. But let me know how you feel down below. Thanks as always, guys, and have a good day.